Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, more relaxed lockdown rules as the general community quarantine takes effect in several areas. And as Filipinos brace to live under the new normal due to COVID-19, lawmakers push for a bill ensuring safety in public and workplaces even after restrictions are lifted. House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano joins us live. And later, may the force be with these Sangguniang Kabataan officials in Malabon as they conduct quarantine patrol in Star Wars costumes. Another phase of the new normal begins. The enhanced community quarantine takes effect for 15 more days in Metro Manila, parts of Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Pangasinan, Benguet, Baguio City, Iloilo, Cebu, Bacolod City, and Davao City, while the rest of the country is placed under a less restricted general community quarantine. Some sectors and activities are allowed to operate, but minimum public health standards must still be observed. These include the wearing of face mask and physical distancing. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano. Speaker, welcome to the show and thank you for your time.
Good morning, Pinky, at sa lahat nating kababayan. And allow me to greet you happy Labor Day. And I think it's a peculiar time kasi usually iba yung araw ng kagitingan o yung mga wartime pag-honor natin, di ba, sa mga lumaban sa gera, and then iba yung Labor Day. But today, we're especially honoring yung mga frontliners natin, no? Yung mga, those people keeping us alive. Hindi lang yung mga medical, but also yung atin mga kababayan na nasa supermarket, nasa pharmacies. No? So thank you for having me today, Pinky.
It's a pleasure to have you, Speaker. Let me just start with the general community quarantine, sir, because that begins today. It's the first day of implementation of the general community quarantine. Speaker, do you think that the government, the offices, and the public are really prepared for this?
Well, Pinky, if you asked me February, no, I forgot what time when I was in your show, January or February. If you asked me to wear a mask, or you ask me not to shake hands, or yung mga kakilala ko dyan sa CNN, wag ako magbeso-beso, there's a good chance hindi pa ako adjusted doon, di ba? Before 911, if you ask me to take my shoes off or to have a complete body search or body scan sa airport kahit sa US, parang sasabihin ko, bakit pa kailangan yan, no? So whether or not people are ready for the new normal, it is our duty in government to not only impose but prepare and make it more convenient, because we will lose lives pag hindi. So it's really a difficult situation, Pinky, but the sooner we all realize that it's a must, hindi to capriccio o hindi ito political philosophy o conspiracy lang, but it's really a must to keep people safe, lives and livelihood, no? So I think yun yung balance ng dalawa, lives and livelihood.
You're right, Speaker, lives and livelihood. But as important as you mentioned a while ago is the health of the employees. I ask if we're ready, sir, because the guidelines really just came out yesterday and possibly the other day. So posible, Speaker, marami pa sa mga kababayan natin ang hindi pa masyadong alam in detail kung anong kailangan gawin. For example, sir, workplace. Madami na pong empleyado, I'm sure, gusto magtrabaho dahil gusto na pong kumita ng pera. Pero kailangan po may mga minimum health standards such as the wearing of face masks, sanitation areas, checking of body temperature, and so many others, sir, katulad ng physical distancing. So dapat ho kasi these ay prepared ang mga kumpanya para po dito sa general community quarantine. Kaya po tinatanong ko sa inyo, handa na ho ba tayo para dito?
Okay, let me start by saying this, no? Not only during this time, but in any crisis, in any time in our life, anyone who adapts faster, anyone who innovates better, and anyone who can manage better So yung acronym AIM, di ba? So may mga targets tayo, with target to go back to normal, target na magkatrabaho tao, target to open up schools. But to have a target, you have to have an aim, no? And yung to adapt, to innovate, and to manage is very important. So if you're asking me if kumbaga handang-handa na ba tayo, given the ano, 'di ba, the national emergency, and giving this is all happening so fast, I think we are only as ready, or handa lang tayo as much as we can be. Pero I agree with you, napakarami pang kailangan na gawin, no? Just in getting information to people's hand. Yesterday, Pinky, we had a long meeting, no, with the economic managers, Executive Secretary Miguel Diaz, Secretary Abisado, Secretary Dominguez, Senator Bongo, and Secretary Mark Villar, no? And while talking about this, kung anong stimulus ang kailangan, etc., one of my recommendations is yung analysis tools o yung modeling, no, that NEDA Secretary Carl Chu put together, that was much applauded by the former secretaries of health at saka mga health experts, should be discussed more, or if possible shown to the public. Pag nakita kasi niyo po yung thinking tool na yon, kung I may call it that, or modeling, makikita mo kasi doon Pinky, kung yung saan nag-intersect yung sa health at saka yung sa economy, at makikita mo kung sino mga vulnerable, at saka yung sinasabi nilang flattening ng curve, and then yung reproduction rate ng virus, no? So it's very hard to follow pag hindi mo you don't completely know why, 'di ba? So kung sasabihin mo, Alan, sa bahay ka lang, 'di ba? Ang hirap eh. Pero kung sasabihin kasi, Alan, baka mahawaan ka, o baka it's my choice. Kasi hindi, Alan, baka ikaw makahawa, kasi hindi naman namin alam kung infected ka rin o hindi. But by explaining it more, and that's why I appreciate shows like this, Pinky, The Source, and yung sa CNN, because not only in the Philippines but all over the world, CNN is really dedicating the show to fighting COVID-19, no? or their programs.
So, okay. Meron lang pong concerns sa speaker. Again, as I mentioned, I'm sure madami na pong gusto magtrabaho. Ang dami na pong gustong kumita ng pera. Pero palagay niyo ho ba magkakaproblema pa rin tayo sa transportation dahil nga sa social distancing? Doon po sa, and number two, no, testing. Do you think, Speaker, that companies should first implement testing of their employees before they are actually allowed to work?
Pinky, diretsuhin ko sagot yung tanong mo. Magkakaproblema ba? Yes. Kaliwat kanan ang problemang haharapin natin sa lahat na magre-reopen. Why? Because you cannot go back to the old normal. So I'll give you an example. Punong-puno nga mga schools natin. May mga schools tayo, 50, 60 sa isang classroom, di ba? May mga schools tayo na 2 shifts. But if we allow schools to reopen, may social distancing now. So yung dating 50 sa loob ng classroom, baka 30 na lang, di ba? Or 25. So ganun din po sa mga factories, di ba? Kung hindi ka makaka-social distance ng 1-2 meters, they might need certain kinds of PPEs, di ba? And then ganun din sa public transport. There are some that by its nature, so example, tricycle. So pinapayagan nila yung tricycle ngayon, pero isa lang ang nakasakay. Yun nga puno yung tricycle halos pang isang araw lang yung kinikita nila. What more kung isa lang, no? So definitely, Pinky, we're not going to return to normal so fast, and there are going to be real challenges. Testing, yes. I mean, all over the world, I don't think there's any debate na ang is test, then identify, then kung sino man ang positive, isolate and provide medical care for them, no? So, nung una, Pinky, kasi nung nag-umpisa to, we were thinking of life after COVID. But after the health expert pounded it into our mind, COVID is here to stay. Whether 1 year, 18 months, or 2 years bago magkaroon ng cure or vaccine, I'm still praying that there will be a miracle cure or vaccine. But so now we're not thinking of post-ECQ anymore or post-GCQ. We're thinking of post-ECQ but with COVID pa rin. Diba? So that's the reality there. No? Even privately, go ahead.
So palagay niyo ho ba itong GCQ, tama ho ba ang timing o dapat ho ba i-delay pa ng konti para po makapaghanda ang transportation sector at ang mga kumpanya? Speaker.
Well, in the thinking tool that I was telling you about or modeling, no, makikita mo doon talaga that the stricter the ECQ, 'di ba? So pataas yung ECQ, pababa yung ekonomiya. Tapos pababa yung restrictions, pataas yung ekonomiya. So ang question, how do you balance the two, no? How do you make sure na buhay tayo pero buhay din yung livelihood natin? So ngayon, Pinky, doon pumapasok
Opo.
yung mga information, yung modeling galing sa UP, yung mathematical equations and everything. And very clear that sa GCQ areas, meaning moderate or hindi na ganun kadami yung infections, a return to
Low.
normal is better. Let me mention one thing about health, no? So ang lahat ng
Okay.
nire-report is about COVID-19, yung mga namamatay, mga na-cure sa COVID-19. Pero yung mga po na-stroke, yung mga na-heart attack, yung pong mga na-dialysis, yung pong mga may cancer, no? So for example, sabi ng ibang expert, si Susie Mercado in particular, yung ibang mga stage 1 cancer ngayon, maaring pagka hindi ganun bumalik sa normal at walang specific COVID hospital, maaring maging stage 2 o stage 3. Yung dating nagagamot na sa TB, pero hindi nila nakukuha gamot nila. So by going to GCQ, by trying to normalize, we will address the other problems. So in other words, Pinky, ECQ addresses one thing, COVID-19. GCQ and going back to normal will address other things. So but the balance is tremendous, kaya pakiusap natin sa lahat ng ating kababayan, regardless if there's a quarantine or not, sundin po natin yung sinasabi ng health experts, 'di ba? Maghugas ng kamay, proper hygiene, palakasin natin katawan natin and social distance.
All right. Okay, Speaker, we're going to have to take a short break. When we return, we're going to talk about this bill filed by the Speaker and some of his colleagues at the House of Representatives. It's called the New Normal Bill. Para saan ho ba ito and anong nakapaloob dito? Also, Pogos will be allowed to operate. We'll ask Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano kung sang-ayon ba siya dito. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano. Speaker, let me ask you this. Pogos, saan ho ba sila dapat nasa sektor ng gaming ho ba o dapat ho ba ay BPO?
Well, BPO sila pero under gaming. I mean both. I mean Pagcor gives the licenses but generically they are a BPO, no.
I hope you know, sir, that the latest news is that the task force has allowed Pogos to resume operations. Do you agree, sir?
Well, I'm the best and worst person to ask because whether may ECQ o wala, I'm against Pogos. I don't believe in gaming or gambling. No, I think that the social the damage, no, to morality, to the society, etc., is worse than that. But having said that, we do have our laws. We have Pagcor laws, sweepstakes, etc. No, so sa akin basta pare-pareho rules lahat sa BPO industry, sa call centers, and walang palakasan, di ba? And everyone follows the same rules. So kung sasabihin, kailangan naka-house yung employees, kung may social distancing, kailangan sumunod sila.
Do you really think, Speaker, that the Pogo workers practice social distancing? Because the stories we hear, sir, is that they're really cramped in one house on shifts.
Yeah. That's where enforcement comes in. So, dun sa lahat ng pinag-uusapan na exemption sa paglipat sa GCQ, whether it's allowing seniors out, whether it's allowing religious gatherings, etc., there's a difference between the theory na payagan natin and the enforcement, di ba? So, if you look, for example, di ba, yung situation na nangyari sa DASMA, sa BGC, etc., it wasn't a rules problem per se or an exception problem. It was really the enforcement, So So sa lahat ng bibigyan ng exemption, maging BPO yan, maging Pogo yan, maging groceries, etc., please follow the rules, no? And I think tama ka doon, Pinky, IATF should look at that, di ba? Na there's a difference between in theory allowing something and the actual I'll give you an example. Yesterday, sobrang daming concern about religious gatherings. No, why? Because in many places like Korea and Malaysia, dun kumalat during the religious gatherings because you're intimate with God, you're singing, you're with your brothers and sisters, di ba? So although we're a very spiritual nation, and I'm already longing to go to church. Ang isa naming iniisip yung enforcement. So if you have a small house church, no, with 50 people na tabi-tabi, and you're the police, what do? Katukin mo, kung susunod naman, pero kung hindi, big na naman yon, religious freedom naman. So relating it to yung sinasabi mo sa Pogo and the news reports na pinapakita. By the way, Pinky, I don't think naman all Pogos are the same, but I get you and I see the news reports. No? So having said that, I agree with you. Enforcement is a problem.
Okay, so I need to clarify that. So you're saying that you are against the resumption of Pogo. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, whether or not may ECQ or not. Pareho kami ni Minority Leader Abante that we're not in favor of that industry. That's something we think that, if other countries want, that's why here in the city of Taguig,
sorry, Sarah, let me just add to that.
Go ahead.
Oh, I see. Okay. Sir, pasensya na po. Meron tayong delay kaya medyo nagkakaroon po tayo ng, anyway, overlapping. So, you're against it. Is there any move you think or should the House look into this? Because number one, if you ask the BIR, if you ask the AMLAC, sir, they say that these Pogo companies owe us about 50 billion pesos. I asked this, sir, any move in the House because Senator Risa Ontiveros filed a resolution banning Pogos. Would a similar move like that make it at the House of Representatives?
Well, let me check with Minority Leader Bishop Benny Abante because he has been making moves already regarding that. But now during this national health crisis, kailangan comprehensive. Tignan natin lahat yan, whether it's moral or immoral, legal or illegal. We have to go through it. Diba? Look at yung sa mga kanto-kanto. Diba? Si Mayor Isko, inabol pa niya yung kapitan na nagpapatupada. Diba? So it wasn't about whether tupada was moral o hindi na. It was about spreading the disease. Kasi pag nagtutupada, magkakatabi kayo, nagsisigawan kayo ng tataya and everything. So to your point, Pinky, na even if it's legal, even if it's there, questions, sumusunod pa sa rules, and will they be a transmitter of the disease? But ako lang, I just don't want to be biased or prejudiced against one group. That's why I'm saying you have to look at the whole sector together. But I agree with you, may peculiarities talaga yung Pogo, and it so happened that foreign workers yung nandyan, di ba?
Okay. Speaker, I want to talk about the new normal bill. You filed this together with some of your colleagues at the House of Representatives. Can you tell us the important parts of this? Although I do have them, we'll have them on the screen. Siyempre, the usual, no, Speaker, kailangan na may mask, kailangan na hand washing, kailangan na social distancing, kailangan na po yung mga mandatory temperature checks. Ano pa ho, Speaker?
Okay, first of all, this is really to prepare our people, yung mindset natin, para nga yung livelihood natin maibalik, no? So this bill is no means perfect, and if you look at what's on top of yung pinapakita nyo sa screen, ang basis po namin dyan, WHO, health experts at saka DOH. Meaning, all of that requirements and regulations will change if mag-iba yung scientific community. So yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, Pinky, na ready na ba tayo? Diba? Are we ready to adapt? So for example, if last December or November, sinabi ng CNN, bawal ng live guest at bawal pumunta yung anchors dyan sa Mandaluyong ba yung sa inyo? Or boundary, no? Sa may Shaw Boulevard. So, bawal
studio,
pumunta.
Opo.
Studio nyo, bawal pumunta. Diba? Magre-react lahat ng host. Diba? Even Christiana Amanpour, pag sinabi mong nandun ka na sa London, ayaw mong magpakita, mag-Zoom tayo, di ba? So really this bill is trying to gather all the scientific and medical advice and then to put some kind of council of scientists so that hindi politiko ang nagde-decide kung ano yung new normal. But it's also trying to inform people. Ganito na buhay ngayon. 'Di ba? Gusto man natin o hindi, ganito ang buhay. So we have to help each
Apo.
other. That's why one of our challenges talaga is the session. Kasi there are more than 300 members of Congress. May driver lang yung bawat isa, 300 yan. May chief of staff lang yung bawat isa, another 300. Pwera pa yung secretariat, di ba? Pwera pa yung resource person. So that's why we're trying to lead by example in having only about 20 or 25 members in the session hall and then doing it through teleconferencing lang, like what we did in March 23. It's not easy. Many members are saying, member ako, if I want to go, I can go. And the question here, Pinky, is not, can you go? Or the question is, should you go? Diba? So itong new normal bill, yes, parang nilalagay namin should because may mga penalties, diba? Pero actually, it's not about can It's really about should. Ano bang tamang gawin natin ngayon para hindi tayo makahawa at hindi lumaganap yung COVID-19?
So yun ang aasahan natin sa Monday, sir. Doon po sa Congress, ilan lang hong congressman ang papayagang pumasok, sir?
I think you have it on the screen now. So more or less ganyan, no? There'll probably be only 20 tables where there used to be 300 tables. But we will open one or two rooms, the Andaya and the Belmonte o Villar rooms, kung gusto nung iba doon. But we're dissuading members because nga, even if all of them are just in their offices, so ang staff nila nandun, ang driver din nandun. We want to prevent a situation na pag nag-contact tracing, nasaan ba nang galing ang COVID, sa Congress na naman. I mean, bugbog na nga kami minsan sa mga sa mga issues. We don't want to be part of the problem during this COVID-19 crisis.
Better safe, sir. Yeah, better safe than sorry. We'll be taking another short break, Speaker. When we come back, we're going to ask the Speaker about the franchise renewal of ABS-CBN. And also, will there be an extra budget or allocation for the fight against COVID-19? We'll be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano. Speaker, we only have 3 minutes left. First, ABS-CBN franchise that will expire on May 4. What's going to happen on Monday sa ABS-CBN, sir?
Okay, one line lang sa new normal, no? We want jobs, not dole out, no? That's why from ECQ we're going to GCQ, etc. So, okay, ABS-CBN, nothing has changed. We guarantee them a fair hearing. But it is the right ng mga complainants, especially those saying that it's being used as a political tool during presidential elections, to give their side. Having said that, walang intention na ipasara sila o isara sila or gamitin yung situation na to. That's why we have already instructed the NTC, the Committee on Franchise, na dapat tuloy-tuloy ang broadcast ng ABS-CBN. But we have to give due course and we have to allow everyone to speak.
Does this mean, Speaker, that they are allowed to operate legally because of that NTC memo allowing all permits that are set to expire to continue on until the ECQ 60 days after the ECQ ends? Ito ho ba yung pinakabatayan kung bakit po they can continue to operate?
I just saw that this morning, Pinky, and I think it can be the basis. But actually, we issued an order to NTC kasi ang tingin ng Kongreso, if we have the authority to give a broadcast company 25 years to operate, why can't we give them a few months to operate while we're in the middle of the hearings? So kami, ang basis namin yung Constitution, the constitutional right for us to grant franchises. But tama ka, there has to be something on paper and mukhang etong extension would benefit ABS.
All right. Last question, Speaker. Is there a move in the House? Is it necessary to look into additional budget on the fight against COVID-19, sir?
Definitely. The one thing we discussed is a possible supplemental budget. We're also looking at the 2021 budget, kung paano magpapalit to sa new normal. Of course, the executive branch has until the end of May or the last week of May for the Bayanihan We Heal as one. But it's not only more budget, but it's also financing the budget because of course bababa ang taxes dahil ang mga negosyo tumigil.
Right.
Nadidelay ang pagbabayad ng taxes, di ba? But we have a great economic team. We have great minds there. We have a passionate heart. So I think we'll be okay. But we really have to have this economic stimulus. Yung sinabi ko nga na trabaho, hindi dole out. Yung pinopose ni Senator Pogo na balik probinsya has to come with a rural development plan. No? So eto 1 month na to will not be a vacation for the House. Sobrang daming trabaho talaga.
All right, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano. Sir, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras and take care, sir.
Thank you and thank you sa CNN. Mabuhay po kayo.
Thank you. And before we go, popular villains from the Star Wars movies were spotted in Malabon, reminding residents to stay home wearing costumes of Darth Vader and his stormtroopers. SK officials and volunteers of Barangay Pangulo went around to entertain and warn people to observe social distancing. They said it's their own way of easing fears brought about by the coronavirus disease. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.